leg attacks are a really important part of anybody's arsenal, and they've only become more popular in recent years. I want to talk briefly about when and how leg locks are most useful. Obviously, leg locks are very useful in sport jiu-jitsu, particularly submission-only environments where you can take your time and hunt for the submission. One thing I want to caution everybody on, and my particular attitude about this, because our jiu-jitsu is meant to be good, solid, fundamental jiu-jitsu that applies in any situation, whether that be sport, whether that be self-defense, whether that be in the gi, whether that be out of the gi. And so in leg locks, if you're in a sportive environment with clearly defined rules, leg locks are a critical part of that, especially these days. In a self-defense situation or an MMA fight, you have to be a little bit more careful. And so generally speaking, when we look to enter leg entanglements in those arenas, we're gonna have to be very judicious and either use them to sweep, which we'll start on right now, so use them to go from a poor position to a better position, or to use them to submit when we have someone isolated in a positional hierarchy where they can't escape. So if I go for this move, it's not gonna go bad for me. If you look in early MMA and throughout MMA, you will see positions of guys diving, you'll see examples rather, of guys diving on leg locks and it going bad for them, with no better example than Royce Gracie's first fight with Ken Shamrock. That being said, leg locks are a powerful tool, and so what we want to do is view them as a part of and a tool to help us advance up the positional hierarchy as well as inevitably finish. So let's talk about the first position in jiu-jitsu that most people learn for leg locking, which is called single leg X guard. A lot of people call it Ashi Garami, which is the Japanese name for leg entanglement. As my buddy David Porter always says, Ashi Garami is the gateway drug for leg locks, but it's also a very good guard position that you can use to sweep. And so the first thing we're going to show you is how to enter that from the bottom and how to sweep and use it to get on top. Note, this dates back to the sort of intro spiel, right, where we're using it to go from a bad position on the bottom to a better position on the top. So if Ilias is standing above me, whether or not there are strikes involved, I need to be sure I'm controlling distance, which means I can't just be sitting in front of Ilias. In order to get to Ashi Garami, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one leg through the middle, and that leg is going to go outside to inside, and then I'm going to pinch my knees together. I start by cupping the outside of his leg, and I scoop my body under him as I lift my hips up. My heel comes to the outside of his hip, and my knee pinches together. So even if I do nothing with my hands, and I will, and Ilias tries to get away, I stay attached to it, right? And pinching together. If he tries to touch my face, I'm still controlling distance, right? So I'm not worried about getting touched here. The critical thing to understand, and there are a lot of different ways to enter, but that's a good base way to enter, because one leg comes in and comes out. Another thing we can do to help enter is we make a little shin-on-shin hook, where we heel and we lift, scoot our butt up. What's really important here is my heel comes to his hip, and my knee then tries to touch that heel and pinches. So if I get lazy about it, then Ilias can separate this connection and just start to pass, and now I'm in a really bad situation, right? So, but let's assume I don't let him do that. I have a nice connection to him, and usually what we'll do is we'll make like an ankle lock grip, because we use this to set up the ankle lock in a later video. So the first thing I want to do, I want to sweep him. The reason this is called single leg X guard is because I do have a form of X guard and I'm attacking just one of his legs. So what I need to do is I need to make this leg not lack structural integrity, so I can bump him toward that. What I do is I pinch my knees, and now I gently, at about 5% energy, turn his knees in here, waiting for a reaction. And as he turns back, I lift my hips up and turn with some actual energy, and I hip out to the other side. So I just kind of give him a feint to the inside, and when he tries to correct his base, we take him radically the opposite direction, making him hit the mat. Now, we can stay here and attack this foot, which is what we'll do in the next video. But what I want to do for the end and finishing this sweep is just show a basic way to stand with base to get on top. I'm going to control his heel, post, with my hand on the mat, post with this foot, just pull my leg back. The reason I want to control this foot is that Ilias too is in a position where he could really easily stand with base, right? But if I have this leg, try and stand with base, really hard. When you want your buddy to not stand up, ideally, of course, you want to control two legs, but if you have to pick one, control the bottom leg, which is, you see how his right hip is closest to the mat and hence his right foot makes it hard for him to get up. If I control this leg, go ahead, yeah. And I might have a single leg and try to take him back down, but ain't nobody got time for that. Control the bottom leg. So that's how to enter Ashi Garami for the sweep. Let's do that one more time. So when we enter, and there's a lot of different ways to enter single leg X in Ashi Garami, obviously, but the fundamental way, I make a little shin to shin hook, I cup the outside of his thigh. As I'm peeling, I'm lifting with my legs just a little, and I shoot my legs up. My heel comes to his hip, my knee comes to my own heel, and I wrap this ankle. Again, we don't really need to wrap the ankle, but it's good practice, especially if we want to attack the leg later, which we will. 5% of my energy turns toward the inside. As he comes back, my hips come up and out. Boom. To get on top, control, elbow on the mat, hand on his calf, post this foot, this hand. Now we're on top. And of course, what we do next depends on what environment we're in. Sport jiu-jitsu tournament, I'm trying to pass the guard. In other situations, I may be, if it's a self-defense situation, I'm probably going to get up and try to get away. So that is our basic entry to the single leg X guard with our basic sweep from there, also known as Ashi Garami, and we're going to use that position to set up all kinds of leg locks too.